Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. So what in the heck was I doing? Control multiple players with the same controller. I think I have that done. Oh, I never tested it with an actual controller though. I never tested it with an actual controller. And the other thing I didn't do was I didn't put in the keyboard shortcuts to switch to a specific player. Which how how was I thinking about doing that? Hmm. I could just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do a quick run and test out the game real fast. Sick. Let's go back in it again from here. So my game right now only goes up to 4. I forgot how to go to the next one. Okay, I like that. Oh, that is so freaking cool. Now, one thing I am noticing. One thing I am noticing is that like, it seems to waste a lot of screen space. But is it actually wasting screen space? Like, how do I make this full screen? Because maybe it's not full screen. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. So it's. Oh, I see. Um, I see. It's not actually wasting screen space. It just appears that way because everyone's near the edge of the screen. That's what it actually would look like. So one thing I guess that's worth mentioning or worth trying to do at some point is clamping the camera so that way the camera doesn't go out here. The camera would line up nicely like this. That way we always have a very clean looking split. So I'll add that as a thing that needs to be done. But let's go here. Dev board. Uh, Multiple players without hardware is in progress. I think that's done. I think that's just straight up done. Disconnecting a controller. Yeah. These are things that need to happen. Figure out player stat calculations. I think that's also done. Hmm. Mute, unmute, not working on options menu. Let's see. Oh, okay. So my options menu doesn't have any controller input. That's something that needs to be done. Glove, options menu, no. Uh, Fix options menu, controller input doesn't work. Controller keyboard. Multiple players, one controller. I think that's done. And let's go here, see what I've got. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we'll go here. That seems like it's working to me. But again, no controller input. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay, that's fair. Keyboard input's not working here. That needs to be fixed. Okay, so some stuff needs to be fixed. Options menu. Okay. Sound effects muting is not working. I don't know if that's because I'm doing split screen or not though. So let's try this, because that could be a split screen bug. Okay. Interesting. Oh, and it works over here. Okay. So we'll say glove fix SFX mute not working. Glove fix OK button not working from in-game options menu. So very cool. So mute unmute not working. Let's see if I had a add some details on that. I did have this here. Then this spun me into a terrible thing. Pause menu controller support. I think this is done, but the pause menu controller support needs to be fixed. And then design board, I need more tile sets, more levels. I could try to make my characters look better, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I need to do something about the artwork in this game. It's not 100% sure what. Okay, we did get a lot of stuff done here. So what was on my list? Sound effects mute not working. Let's look at that first. Actually, what do we want to look at first? Okay, not working. Yeah, we'll look at sound effects mute not working. Options menu, but I don't think that's this SFX volume. Yeah, SFX volume is its own widget. So volume slider.gd. Okay, so here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing that I did. If bus name, right? Okay, yeah, so that is a funny thing that I did. So this could have been a little bit cleaner maybe if I had a way um if I had a way in my volume slider to give it the bus name here, which I do. Hmm. Is music playing? Oh, right, because this one has to get it from that node. So it is kind of a special exception. But it would have been nicer. It's ugly, you know, it works, so I don't care. It would have been nicer if there was an easier way to pass this in. Which we could do, actually. We could do it from here. We could pass this in as a closure. We could pass it in as a callback, and then it would remove this if statement. So let's go options menu, SFX is SFX. So mute checkbox pressed. Connect on mute toggled. Set bus mute. Bus name should mute. Okay. So bus SFX, that's fine. So then why? Maybe on here we have bass player, sound, stream bus. Oh. No, wait, hold on. I don't know what sound is for though. Attack sound. Oh, and attack sound is also going to master for some reason. I don't know what sound is. Do I use this? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. So what's the difference between play sound? Oh! Yes. Play sound. I believe play sound works for item pickups, but attack sound is a different sound, and the reason why it's separate is because we change the pitch of this sound, and we have two different sound objects because if we pick up an item while we're attacking, we want both sounds to be able to play. Mm-hmm. But they're both sound effects. So, in here, both of these should be on the SFX bus. And they are, and we save it, and that should fix everything. Yep. You guys don't hear that, but I do. There's no sound. Oh, and this is working now for some reason. Yep, and that sound happened. And that sound happened. And then to test it again, oops, we go here. And that doesn't make a sound. That wall should also make a sound. Should add a sound for that wall. And enemies need a sound when they get hit. Yep, and that doesn't make a sound. Cool. But I put it on. Attack sounds happen. Door sound, treasure sound. Yep, cool. That was an easy fix. Oh yeah, it would be under scenes, it would be under player. Player, fix. SFX mute option not working. On. Attack. I'll just say not working. Set sound bus to SFX. Easy. Okay, so that's done. Options menu. So options menu doesn't work. Options menu does work. Okay, but well, we'll take this to mean something else. We'll go here. And what I am gonna do is go to pause menu. Really, it's for pause menu. Actually, let me stop that. It's really, really pause menu thing. Both of those are fine. So glove fix, pause menu, no controller input. Pause menu doesn't respond to controller input. That's what we're gonna do next. Okay. Okay, so this is what's having the problem. So now we'll open pause menu. And let me compare pause menu to options menu actually. Probably some value in that. Pause menu does use my input handler. It looks like. Yeah, you can see here on input, I forward everything to here. So what we're gonna do is the same thing. Our input handler. Just like that. And it's probably complaining because we have a bunch of functions that don't exist. Menu list. This, okay, I see. Now I have a menu list here. Which I feel like could also be much less boilerplate. If I know these things are like decoupled right now, but if I couple them into one thing, then I'd be able to pass all of this, right? And then here we would just go, whoops. Pause menu. Oh no, we just do options button. Because that's the only option right now. But eventually we could add a quit button. Back is a signal. Which we could put here as well. Or options menu dot back. Oh, I see. Pause menu dot show. And then where's the what? Ah, pause dot emit false. Okay. Signal bus dot pause dot emit false is what I want to do there. So warning here. It's not used because I have to go to that's physics process. I have to go to input, and I don't remember. There we go. That should be fine. Oh, sick. Oh, except here it breaks for some reason. Why does that happen? Oh, because this one is eating it? Might be what's happening. Um, okay, so what we're gonna do here is Godot's input that event handled, I think is what we have to do. Unhandled input. My issue here is they have two completely different examples. If an embedded window is focused, the event is sent to that window and processed in the Windows viewport and afterwards treated as handled. If no embedded window is focused, the event is sent to the nodes of the current viewport in the following order. Okay. So maybe the issue is that in here, I have to not just show and hide, but grab focus. Oh, sorry. And then pause menu, grab focus, like that. See if that fixes things. I think the reason why is I think my other screen is handling the event. Mm-hmm. I think they're both trying to handle. Yep. So two things. I can try unhandled input. See if that helps. If that doesn't do anything. No. Also looks like options menu gets it first, which is not what we want. There's also GUI input. Which doesn't do anything. So what I need to do oops, Godot disable input. Set process input false. So instead of that, awesome. Nice. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. Problem solved. So that we can discard. And then we can add this. Pause menu, fix, no keyboard. I say fix. Pause menu, fix doesn't respond to keyboard. To control. Keyboard controller input. Cool. So that's done. So I finished all the things I said I was going to do. We need to come up with some more stuff to do. This is a very productive 30 minutes. So what else do we need to do? Go Here? Yeah. I think I have some stuff on the soundboard. Yeah, I do. Attack sounds, enemy death sounds, menu sounds. Oh yeah, there's a lot of sounds I don't have. Oh, and then maybe camera clamping. Let's look that up first because that seems more dev oriented. Glove, camera, confiner. So I've done this in Unity. Let's see how to do this in Godot. Godot, confine camera to tile map. Fitting camera to tile map. When placing tiles in a scene, I have zero idea how to align it properly with the camera. This can change the resolution of the display in a project settings to a multiple of your tile size. You could also set the bounding box of your tile map with tilemap.getUserAct in the viewport of the camera. Now get the bounding box in the viewport rect of your camera and divide one by the other. Am I explaining a little more in detail how you would get the viewport rect? Tilemap get use rect, camera get viewport rect, tilemap direct position. How to set and restrict a camera 2D boundary in Godot Game Engine. I've been learning and practicing Godot Engine by watching free high quality videos from Heartbeast. I really want you to go and watch this RPG tutorial series to learn practical fundamentals of Godot Engine. In part 20 of the series, we learned about setting up the camera and making the camera follow the player around the level. It's very easy in Godot. Oh, this looks cool.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to part 20 for our Godot Action RPG series. In this video, we're going to be adding in a camera that will
I've seen this
follow our
guy's
character around.
videos before.
And this is actually going to be the second to last video in the series. The next one will likely be the last one. So we're getting close to the finish here. We've learned a lot. It's been a lot of fun. Let's get started. Come into your world, and we're going to attach a new camera 2D node to our player. And once we do that, you can see we get this little border around the player like this. And but this little border is really thin. It's kind of hard to see. And so if we run the game also, the camera doesn't actually follow our player still. And it's not even actually running, basically. This camera isn't actually even being used. So in order to use this camera, what we need to do is turn on current. If you come over to its properties, that increases the border here, makes it thicker, and then when we run the game, we can see that the camera now follows our player. Okay. So we also are going to want to increase our background size here.
That's a cute trick.
Maybe got it centered, so that's a bit odd, but that's okay. That works for now. We'll save and run the game again. So now the camera follows our player around. It's pretty easy to set that up. The camera feels a little bit harsh because it follows our player exactly. And you can see that our hearts don't follow the camera right now. Also, if we die, the camera gets destroyed. The camera that is attached to our player also gets destroyed. So then it resets to the default camera. It looks a little bit awkward, right? Like if we run the game and we come clear over here and have this enemy bat kill us, then the camera jumps clear over here when we die. So we need to fix some of these problems. So the first problem that we're going to fix is the hearts. We want to make sure that our hearts follow the camera. And the way that you do this is by creating a new node and creating a canvas layer node. So the canvas layer node, this node will follow the camera around on the screen, and then we can set our hearts or our health UI to be a child of that canvas layer node, like this. And then when we run the game, that's all you have to do. The hearts now follow the camera around properly on the screen. Now the camera being a little bit jarring is an easy fix too. We can come into the camera properties and we can turn on smoothing. And you can see now the camera is a little bit less jarring when we're moving around in the room. And you can play with some different properties in the project settings as well. Some people prefer the look with, so there's a couple things to keep in mind if you feel like your camera is a little bit jittery. And so part of the reason that the camera can be jittery is because the camera is moving at a sub-pixel amount. So it's moving less than a pixel at a time. And I don't mind that look for this. Like I think this looks pretty good, and you're never going to get anything 100% perfect, but there are a few things you can consider. Number one, you could consider setting your camera's process mode to be physics. That way it updates on the physics frame, which would, if your player is moving on the physics frame, then it would match the player. I personally prefer the look on the idle frame. I don't really see much of a difference between these two, actually. You can also check in your project settings to your rendering. Where's our rendering quality? You can turn on use pixel snap, and this should theoretically make your camera snap to perfect pixels, and that's a completely different look as well. And so that might be something you want to consider too. So I prefer just kind of the default settings for it. And I'm not going to go into some different solutions, because I'm sure there are other solutions to these problems as well, but those are kind of the ones that you might try for yourself, see what gives you the best result, and stick with that. So now that we've got camera smoothing on, the last thing we need to fix is the issue where our character can be, when the character gets killed, the camera jumps clear back to here, which just looks super awkward. So the way, let's attach a node to our player. It's called a remote transform 2D node. And this node, what it does is it makes, you give it a path to a different node, and it makes that node follow it. And so we want to assign a path node to our player. It's called attach it to the camera to make it. This problem is by moving the camera outside of the player, right? But that means that the camera will no longer follow the player, right? If the player moves, the camera no longer moves with it. Now you could use a script and attach it to the camera to make it follow the player, but there's a node you can use for this too. So let's attach a node to our player. It's called a remote transform 2D node. And this node, what it does is it makes, you give it a path to a different node, and it makes that node follow it. And so we want to assign a path and choose our camera. And now, whenever this remote transform node follows our player around, the camera will follow us as well. See, it follows just like it did before. However, if we end up dying over here, then the camera isn't being destroyed. The camera's still in the game. It's just no longer following the remote transform. And so now the camera stays where it was when we died. And that's going to be it for this video. It's a really short video, but I think it has some useful little things to learn, like the remote transform and using the camera. And there's a lot more involved in cameras that I recommend you experiment around with. You can limit the camera to the view. You can add a drag margin, and you can turn it on with these right here. You can set your zoom amount so you can easily zoom in and zoom out with the camera. Like if we do 0.8, 0.8 here, this will zoom.
So probably I just need to adjust the limit
closer to the player, and you can mess with those properties as you see fit. So if we do 1.5, 1.5, that's going to be a huge camera for our player, kind of zoomed out pretty far, and you can play around with them.
Oops. So that was a kind of useful video. I think I've seen this one before. Let's grab a link to this real quick.
Around with those. So I think we learned some cool stuff in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and a thumbs up, or subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you all later.
So let's grab that and throw that in my notes, just so I have it. Let's also throw this onto its own workspace. It's too annoying to go back and forth.
Afternoon or evening, wherever and whenever you are.
Right, and then we'll go here. Days note. right? But what else do we want? We also want to limit camera, which might be simple, right? So let's do this. We can try to mess with it, but I want to look it up first. Godot limit camera to tile map. To limit the camera 2D, you can programmatically set the camera's boundary limits based on the tile map's rectangle. Set camera limits. Tile map that get used rect. The tile size. Camera will then be restricted to these boundaries, preventing. Okay. For dynamic level loading or complex level designs, you can use area 2D nodes with collision shape 2D to define custom camera limits per level or area, and adjust camera limits when the player enters or exits these zones using signals like area entered. Alternatively, you could use a group system to find the relevant tile map and set limits automatically. That's what I was thinking about doing. While Godot does not have a built-in visual tool to drag and set the camera limits directly in the editor, developers often use a tile map to define the boundaries, which is considered the most reliable method. So we're going to take this and we're going to modify this. But we can use this as our base. So let's go back to Godot. I believe my base player has my camera, which is kind of okay. Oh, limit on. That's funny. I don't have smoothing on. Oof. My shoulder's really messed up right now. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I'm completely exhausted right now. I need to hop on a call in 30 minutes. So what I am going to do, I have the basis of how I'm going to do this here. I'm going to stop right now. And I'll come back later this afternoon and we'll finish up this camera stuff. I'll be back in a few hours, guys. Sorry, I had some things I got to take care of.